Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we are up to step number 46. If you got this far, well done. This is very, very important. It's the importance of intimacy. Now, the very first thing is our society, as many societies that become prosperous, they become debased. The reason they become debased, and there's a historian who wrote a history of the entire world. And really, it's a unique perspective. And what happens within the world is that often there will be a religious ideal that brings people together. It makes people safe and secure and good. But then as that works, things become good. It's almost like the parents work very hard for the children to have what they need. But if you give your kids everything, those kids are not good kids. They're spoiled. And what happens is they just want anything that they can get. And it's a disaster. And ultimately, all empires fail within 200 to 400 years just because people become spoiled. And they don't want to work hard anymore. But part of what happens is that they become debased. They become a slave to their own desires. Like Margaret Thatcher said, a person without religion is a slave to their passions. And so it's very important to understand that everything that God gave us in this world is good. But there's a time and a place for it. Money is good. There's a time and a place for it. Food is good. There's a time and a place. Sleep is good. There's a time and a place. Everything has a time and a place. And if you take anything and you make that, as somebody, philosopher said, that in the West, I'm just going to use the word, it may not be a polite word, but it gets the message across. Sex has become the main thing. And this is really a very sad thing because intimacy is really a very beautiful thing. It's a holy thing. God created intimacy. They say when Adam and Eve, first holiest people in the world, they were created, that's what they were engaged in. They were engaged in intimacy. But v'lo yisbashashu, they were not embarrassed. Why were they not embarrassed? Because they didn't see it as a sinful thing. They didn't see it as an ego thing. They saw it as a unity thing. And the truth is, most women think of intimacy in the right way. They think of it in a way of unity. It's actually us men that often see it in a negative way. So the bottom line is that we have to restore it to its proper place. Intimacy belongs in the context of marriage. Now, of course, God is the one who created us, and he wants different nations to do different things in the world. So a Jew should only marry a Jew, which is somebody that either converted according to Jewish law, not some kind of reform. I studied with a reform rabbi at Yale University, and I asked him for the documents for reform. So he told me, he actually gave me the original books, what reform is based on. I was actually curious. And it's based on this idea that any rabbi can say whatever they want. So would you go to a doctor that went to a medical school that says, we're going to give you a medical degree, and the rule is you can say whatever you want? That's not a rabbi. That's not a doctor. That's a Khan. So the idea is that a rabbi is one that follows the law. So unless you convert according to Jewish law, which has been quite consistent over 3,300 years, then you're not Jewish. Or you're born to a Jewish mother. Even if you don't do anything, that is what confers Judaism on you. So a Jew has to marry a Jew, a Gentile, because we have different roles and missions to play in this world. And we shouldn't be conned by somebody saying, they're the Messianics today that are Christians and they're Gentiles, and some of them think they're Jewish, but they're not. You're born the way you're meant to be. And God gave you 7 laws for the Noahides, and he gave 613 commandments for the Jews. And that's God himself. Nobody's arguing the fact that God gave the Torah, and in the Torah there's the law. So we have to live within the framework of the law. Now, within the framework of the law, and intimacy is a very important thing because intimacy creates connection and bonding, and that's what God wants. He wants unity. The world is not made for us to have ego. It's made for us to have connection. And intimacy with one person is going to be the greatest connection. So I say this to women, don't be cheap. Some women today don't even know that this is stupid and wrong. But if you give yourself up, even if you dress down, what happens is men respect women that respect themselves. A man that hears from a woman, I won't have intimacy until I'm married, and she dresses appropriately, the man sees her as a woman. But if she's dressing, excuse my my language, because a lot of people don't think of it this way, but she's dressing slutty and she's ready to have, sex. So he's not going to respect her. He's not going to marry her, because you marry a person you respect. You want to have children with them. You want to have, and that's what women want. But in order to do that, you have to create boundaries, because a lot of men don't know what the boundaries are. So in a society that has lost its values and boundaries, you have to make those boundaries. Otherwise, it's like, imagine I tell you, don't go in the field because that field has, mines in it. So you start going, what do you think? Something's going to blow up. You have to make the boundary yourself. So other people are doing it. Yeah, other people are blowing up. Most relationships, in the millennials, 70% ending up divorced by the time they've gotten even into marriage. Has been a disaster after disaster after disaster. You want that? Because unless you change, as I mentioned the other day from my friend, he says, I'm 50 years old. I'm heading in a certain direction. Why should anything change? Unless it changes, it's not going to change. So that is the number one piece of advice, which is no intimacy before marriage, respect yourself, and a Jew should marry a Jew, a Gentile a Gentile. And once you are married, there's a very beautiful tradition, it's actually a teaching from God, which is there are 2 weeks on. It begins with kind of menstruation. That's when the couple separate. And then if you're Jewish, after the count of 5 days, the cessation of blood, there's a count of 7 days. And then the lady checks, makes sure there's no blood, and she goes to the mikvah. There are many lectures and classes you can see. But if for a Gentile, even though you don't go to the mikvah, this body of water, you can simply separate. And that's a brilliant advice, because often what happens is people kind of, you have too much candy, you don't like candy anymore. The Talmud says it best. There's a small limit in man that the more you satisfy it, the less satisfied it gets. But the less you satisfy it, the more satisfied it gets. So really our job here is to clearly and unequivocally have self-discipline. And when you should have intimacy, and it's more for the men because it's really the man's job to initiate, you must have intimacy. Intimacy is a wonderful thing. And again, our sages teach us how to do that. Intimacy for a woman is more emotional. And so therefore a person should speak to her heart. Everybody has a unique heart. What is it? What makes her feel good? And intimacy has to be based on giving pleasure, not what I can receive, but what I can give. And our sages teach us that you should be at least half hour, an hour before, and at least an hour later. In other words, one of the things that women hate is if there's intimacy and then the guy, whatever, just falls asleep, or then they feel used. No, that's not correct. This is a bonding time, right? Bonding is time together. Intimacy is not something like eating chicken. Oh, I ate the chicken, it's over. No, that's not the way it works. You're dealing with a human being. It's time before, time after, and that is my teaching on intimacy. Let's do a little meditation. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, breathe in God and breathe out any stresses and anxieties. Please, Hashem, take a deep breath, breathe in God and let go of anxiety and depression, and breathe in goodness and kindness and let go of fear and evil. And let us do a prayer. Please, God, we know that the challenge of, quite simply speaking, keeping our libido in the right direction is very difficult. The world around us, as it's received the great blessing of freedom, has also received the great curse of anarchy. It used to be, it was very clear that a man should marry a woman. It's clear that a Jew should marry a Jew, a Gentile, a Gentile. It was clear that we're here for the great gift of raising children and giving to our children and raising a future we'll be proud of. But today, it's very unclear. People are lying to people, saying that a male-female union is the same as some other unions, which it's not. People are lying to people that you shouldn't or you don't need to get married. It doesn't mean anything. The lie is so bizarre is that if somebody says that they're of other or the same gender, then suddenly it's all celebrated. But if it's a normal marriage, suddenly it's denigrated. It's just pure evil has crept into the world with no thanks to Russian disinformation, as we mentioned before. And we need help. We need help in being our best selves. Please allow me to be my best self. For a male, please allow me to get married to my other half. The Kabbalah says that your wife is the other half of your soul, separated at birth, reunited at marriage. Please allow me to see my wife always as my other half. Please allow me to realize that intimacy is not a human desire. It's actually a godly desire. God made this so we can have the great gift of unity and connection, something that no other type of connection can give us. Please let me honor and see this as something holy and sacred, not as something as debased and to be belittled. Let's address this. Please let me keep my eyes away from pornography, from scenes of basically non-dressed women, because this is torture to my soul. Instead of being a pure person seeking only what is good and holy, it makes me look at women in a kind of in an objectifying way. Please let me be connected to only that which is going to be giving towards my wife and make the world a safer, better place. And for women, the prayer and the request should be, please let me be strong. Let me not think that if I am weak, somehow somebody will then give in return. It's not the way it works. If a person has a lot of courage, people respect them. People respect values. Let me stay with my values, because if I do, I know that you will consistently and constantly be there for me. And even if the world around me doesn't or has lost the values, let me keep my values. And let me be a light onto my husband and my family of holy values. And let this greatness of all the millions and hundreds of millions of righteous, good women be me. And let this continue for eternity. Thank you.